Okay, quick thing before we start the show. Big changes are happening all around us. Are you ready? In my new book, Super Shifts, we uncovered the massive transformations reshaping how we live, work, and think in the age of intelligence. From AI to the future of work, this book is your guide to navigating what's next. Get your copy of Super Shifts today, available wherever books are sold, because the future isn't coming. It's already here. Okay, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Think Forward podcast, where we speak with futurists, innovators, and big thinkers. Come along with your host, Steve Fisher, and explore the future together.
Welcome back to Foundations in Foresight, a Think Forward series. I'm Steve Fisher, and in this episode, and today, we're talking about something sneaky. Something that quietly shapes how you think, how you plan, and even how you make big strategic bets. Assumptions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Steve, I don't assume anything. I work with facts. But here's the truth. We all make assumptions constantly. And when it comes to thinking about the future, those assumptions can either be incredibly helpful or a direct path to failure. If a market shift has ever blindsided you, missed an opportunity because you thought that'll never happen, or planned a strategy that made perfect sense until reality had other ideas, chances are an assumption was at play. So today we're going to unpack what assumptions are, why they matter, and how to get better at spotting and challenging them before they steer you in the wrong direction. So what are assumptions and why do they matter? Let's start with the basics. Assumptions are the invisible rules we use to navigate the world. They're the mental shortcuts we take to make decisions without having to analyze everything from scratch. Some assumptions are useful. You assume your morning coffee will help you wake up. You assume your car will start. You assume that when you order a salad, it won't secretly contain bacon if you're a vegetarian. These are reasonable, everyday expectations based on past experience. But in business and strategy, assumptions are a different beast. We assume customers will keep buying the way they always have. We assume our competitors will play by the same rules. We assume our business model is solid until something disrupts it. And that's where the trouble starts. When we make assumptions about the future without realizing it, we become vulnerable. We lock ourselves into a particular view of how things should be. And when reality doesn't cooperate, we're left scrambling. Let's talk about some famous assumptions that went wrong. Need proof? Let's take a quick tour through some of history's worst assumptions. Blockbuster assumed people would always want to rent movies in store. Kodak assumed film would always be king, despite inventing the first digital camera. Nokia assumed that having the best hardware was enough, while Apple focused on software. Each of these companies wasn't just wrong. They were wrong in a way that cost them everything. And if you think your industry is immune, think again. The world is full of businesses right now making dangerous assumptions they don't even realize they're making. Now, how do you identify and challenge your own assumptions? This is like avoiding falling into the same trap. Simple. You start making your assumptions visible. One of the best ways to do this is to ask yourself, what am I taking for granted? Think about your industry, your customers, your business model. What things do you believe to be true that, if you were wrong, would completely change how you operate? Now take it further. Ask, what if the opposite were true? Or what if this assumption stopped being valid tomorrow? Or who is already challenging this assumption, even if they seem small today? These kinds of questions help you step outside your default thinking and consider alternative futures. They also help you spot risks and opportunities before they become obvious to everyone else. Now let's talk about some assumption busting in practice. Let's do a quick exercise. Take something you believe is definitely going to be true 5 years from now. Maybe it's, customers will always prefer in-person experiences. Or, regulations in my industry won't change that quickly. Or my new favorite, AI will never replace this specific job. Now flip it. Imagine that assumption isn't true. What would that mean for you? Your company? Your industry? This isn't just a thought experiment. It's exactly how companies future-proof themselves. The ones that regularly challenge their own thinking are the ones that aren't caught off guard. Now let's bring it all together. Here's the takeaway. Every decision you make about the future is built on assumptions. Some are solid, some are risky. The key is knowing which are which before it's too late. If you want to start thinking more like a futurist, don't just accept the way things are. Question them, test them, flip them upside down and see what shakes loose. The future doesn't belong to those who assume. It belongs to those who explore. And that's it for today's episode of Think Forward Foundations. If you've been enjoying the series, check out the previous episodes where we lay the groundwork for better futures thinking. And stick around because next time, we'll be diving into how to spot signals of change before they disrupt you. Until then, stay curious and always think forward.
Thanks for listening to the Think Forward podcast. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms and at www.thinkforwardshow.com, as well as on YouTube under Think Forward Show. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the show. Now, about that thing I mentioned earlier about the book Super Shifts. Imagine having a playbook to navigate what's coming next. That's exactly why I wrote Super Shifts, to help you understand and prepare for the seismic changes shaping our world. Don't just react. Get ahead. Super Shifts is available now, wherever you get your books. And if you order today, you'll get exclusive bonus content. Head to supershiftsbook.com and grab your copy now and start future-proofing your life. The future won't wait. Why should you?